All right, everybody. So we earlier in the stream talked about the indictment of Donald Trump and how it happened today, like it went through. And we were celebrating it, we were laughing about it, we were catching ourselves up on all of the knowledge and all the info and all the lore about it. But we're not going to be talking so much about the nitty-gritty of the indictment in this video. You see, there's been a lot of there's just been a lot of buckets of bummer going around lately, you know? Like, just a lot of really bad news that just kind of makes you feel a little upset about the state of our country and the future of where it's headed. And on top of that, conservatives notably love gloating in the misery of minorities and the left. Like, every time, like, it's all a team sport to them. So they love, like, they're really sore winners, you know? They're sore winners and sore losers. So with that said, I think it's important every once in a while for us to come together and do what the right does. The right basically makes a pastime sport out of triggering the left and enjoying the misery of the left. The left needs to start enjoying the misery of the right more, especially when you consider the fact that the right is made up of a lot of miserable people. So it's not that hard, you know? Anyway, one of the most known grifters on the right is an individual by the name of the Quartering. This is him right here. And apparently he did not react well to Trump getting indicted. He is apparently quite upset, and I cannot wait to see how upset he is. This is just going to be all about us sitting back, laughing, and enjoying the misery of conservatives. That's what I want us to do here.
Looks like whatever breaking news service you might follow. Hopefully it's me. By the way, if you haven't yet, subscribe down below and make sure you click that notification bell so you actually get notified when I upload. There's several outlets now reporting that the indictment of Donald Trump is now imminent to happen tomorrow. Now, there was some initial reporting about all of this that led to speculation that it may have happened next week. To me, it is obvious, it is painfully obvious that the entire thing is set to smear Donald Trump. It's a wild overreach of our justice system being weaponized against a political opponent that they clearly fear, and this will ultimately backfire. Donald Trump is not going to jail for this.
That's probably
This is not happening. People act like every time there's a chance that this might happen, they forget that Stormy Daniels sued him, I believe, twice and lost both times and had to pay Donald Trump. This is the weirdest
he's huffing his
overreach
copium
that I've seen our judicial system have here.
His
and it's
eyes are red.
They're afraid.
Oh my God, his eyes are red. Oh my God, he's been crying. He was actually crying. He might actually not be a grifter. He might actually be a true believer, and he might actually believe all the bullshit he says. I can't tell if that's sadder. Maybe he's smoking some weed? Dog, I've been smoking weed and my eyes aren't that red. Look at these. I get nice and stoned on stream and my eyes aren't very red at all. His eyes are red. They have to be pretty red to notice it.
Weirdest overreach that I've seen our judicial system have here, and it's clearly because they're afraid. This on top of the idea that, we have Ron DeSantis. Many people do and like Ron DeSantis, but
is he going to cry in this video?
Pretty big missteps, I think, in his handling of all this. This is from Alex on Twitter. Donald Trump is expected to be indicted tomorrow. Secret Service to make plans for his surrender and appearance in New York court next week.
He sounds so sad.
This via the Daily Mail. Trump will not be arraigned this week. Former president is expected to be indicted tomorrow, and Secret Service will make plans for his surrender and appearance in New York court next week. A source familiar with the proceedings exclusively told Daily Mail on Tuesday. What was it, the Attorney General?
By the way, we know he did it. His guilt is as known as O.J. Simpson's guilt, if not more. All of the evidence to be able to come to a solid conclusion that he did these things is out there. We know he did it. It's just a matter of whether or not it's determined that he did it in court and what reprimandation reprimanding he gets for his actions and breaking the law. Whether or not he gets off scot-free, and the name Teflon Don continues to go. Like, to be clear, these people know that, like, Donald Trump, Don, is in the wrong. His nickname is Teflon Don because nothing sticks to him. They take pride in the fact that he can do whatever he wants and get away with it. They love it. That's their goal, is to be able to do whatever they want and get away with it, no matter how heinous. That's the entire end game for them.
All 36,000 NYPD officers are in uniform and on notice for the deployment after Trump called for his supporters to protest his imminent indictment. Well, I mean, the showing has been weak, but I would say that it's because there are many wary. There are many that feel like he abandoned his base that has been locked up for an inordinate sentences from J6. There are people that are worried about potential glowies, bad actors trying to kind of make things escalate things. There's a lot of reasons why all this is happening.
Copium.
So there will be no arraignment this week. A source familiar with the proceedings told Daily Mail. The former president, who is currently in Florida, is expected to be formally charged tomorrow after the Manhattan District Attorney's Office will reach out to Trump and his Secret Service detail to make arrangements for his surrender. Now, again, he's not going to prison for this. Anybody who thinks that is delusional. Meanwhile, it's all hands on deck in New York Police Department and Metro Police Department, as all officers on Tuesday are expected to be in uniform, ready for anything in the wake of the potential indictment. Officials in New York City and Washington, D.C. are preparing for possible unrest and demonstrations following the former president's plea for his supporters to protest in response to potential indictment handed down by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg over hush money payments made to Stormy Daniels. Trump 76 said last week he is expected to be arrested on Tuesday, but law enforcement told Daily Mail that an indictment will likely happen on Wednesday at the earliest. NYPD internal memo obtained by CNN shows that
he's just reading
all
the article at this point,
are to be in uniform and prepare for deployment
and
Tuesday.
choking out the words, trying
Meanwhile,
not to cry.
Daniels also beefing up her security after her attorney said that she received concerning messages. Law enforcement officials tell CNN that there are currently no credible threats in New York City, even though Tuesday.
Let's skip right over the whole Stormy Daniels getting threatening messages from Trump supporters thing. You don't want to hang on that for too long. That might not push the idea that you want.
Today is a high alert
be
day.
Pushed.
Washington Metro Police are also preparing for protests, but the U.S. Capitol Police isn't currently tracking any direct or credible threats from Trump's protesters. I imagine they're going to stay home. You know, NYPD is the largest police department in the country with 36,000 current officers and 19,000 civilian employees. This week's memo suggests that all 36,000 officers are expected to be in uniform and on standby for deployment today.
Good.
Many lawmakers and politicians, both sides of the aisle, have said no one wants
These
a repeat
fascists
of
will try
J6,
to...
with Republicans claiming that they don't expect the demonstrators to turn bad, but warn instead of a political circus surrounding any potential indictment. On Monday afternoon, the NYPD met with Secret Service and Chief of Public Safety for state court officers with decision to ramp up security around the courthouse starting Tuesday morning, a law enforcement official told DailyMail.com. However, the source said the indictment isn't expected until at least Wednesday at the earliest, and that Trump likely wouldn't even come to New York this week. They had their meeting and discussed a whole bunch of stuff about putting extra lighting out there. Now they're going to put more barriers out there and send their special response teams in. The NYPD is going to do what they can when the United Nations comes to town with stepped up security, they added, but they don't think it's going to happen this week. I like how he's such a terrible criminal that they just get to plan for whatever they want.
What? No, because when he lost the election, his fans went to the White House and tried to do a violent coup. People died. So yeah, they're ready for a similar thing to happen because now he's being indicted for a crime. So they're worried the same thing might happen, so they're upping security. He's mad they're upping security. He's literally upset that they're upping security for when he gets surrendered over to police.
The indictment may happen, but they don't think Trump comes this week. I'm told there's an additional witness who's going to testify on Wednesday, So if there's an indictment, it's not going to happen until Wednesday or Thursday. So they think he probably comes next week. I mean, Trump, of course, declared he is a victim of Stormy Horseface Daniels extortion, saying he's being targeted by a series of horrible radical left Democrat investigations. Daniels also feeling the effects of Trump's possible looming arrest, as her attorney, Clark Brewster, told TMZ that her client has received vitriolic messages on social media. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Not that. But here is ultimately what the fallout is, and this is exactly what I suspected it would be, is that, Trump v. DeSantis.
Remember, guys, to conservatives, being cruel is a virtue, but they will still play the victim at any given opportunity. How many times have you heard these same people making such a huge deal about how the left harasses people? Like, they literally do it. Like, the left were harassing streamers and calling them transphobic for playing Hogwarts Legacy. These trans activists have gone so far. And it's like, this person who is literally being targeted by the president, or the ex-president and his fan base, is receiving like vitriolic threats. And he's like, mean words, mean words. These people don't have any consistency or honesty in their body. It's a prerequisite to being a conservative is being a liar.
This is a no-win situation for Republicans. Unless they can join forces together or, pass the torch or whatever the case may be. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has now dropped to the lowest support in GOP polls as clashes with Trump turn nasty. The Morning Consult survey found that 54% of potential GOP primary voters support former President Donald Trump, who announced his candidacy in November. Slightly less than half of them support Mr. DeSantis, who is yet to announce his candidacy at 26%. His lowest level.
Drunk?
The Morning Consult began tracking his numbers back
really drunk
to December
right now.
2022. DeSantis has faced criticism for both establishment Republicans and Mr. Trump in recent weeks. Last week, DeSantis sparked outrage among some in the party when he responded to a questionnaire from Fox News host Tucker Carlson by calling the battle between Russia and Ukraine a territorial dispute. Mr. DeSantis said that it was not in our national interest of the United States to support Ukraine. Well, I don't know if I disagree with that. 49% of all voters say that supporting Ukraine against Russia's attack on the country is of vital interest to the United States. Only 37% of potential Republican voters said the same. By comparison, similarly, let's go down. Conversely, the former president has also turned his gaze towards the governor of his state. During a speech in Davenport, Iowa, Mr. Trump tested out his nickname.
Jesus Christ, give us some commentary, man.
Crude phobic insult towards him. Yeah, I mean, I definitely can't say that I'm really happy with the way that DeSantis has reacted here. I don't know. I suppose I'll read the comments down below. I would have liked to see a little more working together. But that said, Trump has been busting his chops pretty nonstop. So it's going to be interesting. If the indictment really does come down tomorrow, this is just more political theater. You see this, Senator Lindsey Graham says that the Trump arrest would destroy our country. Senator Lindsey Graham, the ranking member of Senate Judiciary Committee, is warning that the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who's just trying to get famous, by the way, arresting President Trump would be terrible. It's going to
I like how he says Trump.
Turn our country
President
into
Trump.
Chaos. It's a bunch of BS, he said.
He doesn't mean to, but he says it every time.
You've
President
got a prosecutor
Trump.
before Bragg, Vance, look at the case and pass on it. You're the U.S. Attorney in New York. Say, I'm not going to do it federally, Graham said, describing the lack of interest among other prosecutors in charging Trump over $130,000 payment his one-time fixer, Michael Cohen, made to Stormy Daniels. Graham said that Bragg is under political pressure to prosecute Trump over the claim, which resurfaced back in 2018 because his predecessor had come
Jeremy's
under
getting
criticism
high
from
on that
former
copium,
prosecutor
guys.
who oversaw it.
I'm getting high on weed. He's getting high on
nobody
coke.
actually wants to push this forward. This is all just a distraction. This is look at over here. Nobody's talking about how bad Joe Biden is leading us right now. They're talking about how insane this is. They're talking about
give some
Trump.
examples.
They're talking about this indictment. I mean, it's like
give us some examples.
Congratulations on your next term, Mr. President. Breaking this is an election interference. 322, obviously, because it's all a charade.
He's so drunk and sad. It's so funny.
He's not going to jail for this. They don't even keep criminals who end other people's lives in jail there. Okay. So all this is good.
Trump won't go to jail in New York. They don't even put murderers in jail in New York. This is legitimately the world that conservatives live in, where it's like liberals are just like, oh, you murdered somebody? Oh, well, we're anti-prison, so we're just going to let you go. That's what Democrat states are. These people live in a fantasy world. These people live in an actual fantasy world.
Gonna do is galvanize his base and remind everyone just who the real enemy is. And I'm not sure that's what they were hoping for.
Who's the real enemy?
I hope you were informed and enjoyed this video. If you were, please do leave a like on it and subscribe down below.
He means the Jews. The real. It's just gonna remind everyone who the real enemy is. He means the Jews. He just means the Jews. That's it. He is referring to the Jews. That's always what it is. That's why he doesn't name anyone in particular. He doesn't even name the Democrats as like the opposing force. It's just they. You know, just a singular they. Anyway, or sorry, not singular, plural they. God, it really is nice watching conservatives like kind of upset, you know? Like watching conservatives be sad and miserable. Remember, these people take massive amounts of joy. Pretty much all the joy in their life comes from your misery. You need to start deriving at least a little bit of joy from their misery, okay? You need to become spiteful, and you need to realize that these people deserve to be miserable. And having bad things happen to them like this, like Trump getting arrested and them taking a giant loss and they're crying and being upset, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and we should laugh at them. Point and laugh. That's pretty much all I have to say about it, though.